Hello and welcome back to the Cody Wood Show. So, starring me, it's Cody Wood. I've been living in Amsterdam now for about 4 months, which seems pretty crazy to me. We've been here since May already. And to be honest, I've been unable to work so far, and I'm finding it a little bit difficult to make friends in the city. So, I've been feeling a little bit like this, a little bit like this, and a little bit like this. But since we got back from our French road trip, photos from which I'll show you in another video, I've been feeling a little bit better. I've been able to go to some nice photography exhibits, a really amazing book fair called Unseen Amsterdam, where I saw just a million books. I think I spent about an hour and a half walking around just looking at and holding and feeling and touching all these books and reading all these books, talking to a few people. That was super amazing. And it's meant that I've sort of started to feel a little bit more comfortable here. I think that it's just something that takes time for me to feel comfortable in a place. It's just a long process, unfortunately. So today I want to show you some photos that I've been making in Amsterdam. Initially, when I was writing this video, I wanted to say that I haven't had a good time photographing in Amsterdam. And that's not quite true. Visually and aesthetically, it's not exactly what I prefer to photograph. It's a little bit, it seems kind of clean or like the colors seem a little bit wrong for what I prefer. But I have been taking lots of photos. So I'm going to show you the photos, and while I show you them, I want to talk about an experience that I had yesterday, which I think could be a bit of a turning point here in Amsterdam. So I went out yesterday with Mila and we had a nice lunch, and then we went to the park and looked through Zizix together. And on the way home, the sun was setting. We had this beautiful light all over the city. So we're coming home, and I have this new phone. Well, it's my mom's old phone, but it's like my old phone. I've been using an iPhone 8 for the past year or so, and now I'm back to a 10R. So that's good. But anyway, I was inspired by the phone to take lots of photos. So I took heaps of photos yesterday. And I'm really happy with, I don't know, with the photos, whether I'm happy with them, but I'm really happy with the way that it felt. It was exciting, and there was like things going on, and people everywhere, bikes going past, and I was having a lot of fun just seeing and experiencing and being there in the city. And it is it brought up a sort of feeling that I've been thinking a lot about, is that in a city like this, in Amsterdam, it's such a busy city that sometimes you go places where it's like overwhelmingly busy, which isn't something that I've ever really experienced, apart from when you're traveling, which doesn't really count. But I've never lived in a place where it's overwhelmingly busy in the middle of the day. And it's something that I'm afraid of. So I'm thinking about, like, what if a country person moved to Brisbane? You know, they might be afraid of the city because it's scary, but I'm kind of just understanding that a little bit more and realizing that being afraid of that isn't the best way to go.
Have you ever seen me walking so straight in a line this morning? Baby, you got to give me some time to get my shit together.
This is a sweet photo of my landlord. He lives with us sometimes here in the city. The day I took this, he said he wasn't feeling too good. He was having a hard time, some troubles. One of my powers is calming people down, and one way to do that is to take photos of them. So I did that, and I love this photo. Part of my Amsterdam struggles has included a trip to Berlin where I had a really amazing week. I went to see an Alex Soth exhibition, which I loved and got lots of inspiration from. And after that, spent the next 4 or 5 days. At any moment I could, I was walking around and taking photos, which isn't something that I've done in a long time. I haven't in a long time, just gone out for the purpose of taking photos. I know people say this all the time in YouTube videos because I've heard it all the time in YouTube videos. And when I hear it, I say to myself, I'm like, that is so lame. That's not a cool thing to say. And maybe it's not, but I got some cool photos and I had some great moments just walking around a city. And it helped me. It made me feel good, and it made me feel confident and better and more. It made me feel more connected to the city, I guess. Which, it's something I'm lacking here in Amsterdam. So I'm thinking about it as a way to make myself feel at home. So I'm going to try and do that more here. Okay. Even though the city of Amsterdam isn't photographically exactly what I want, I have been making a project, and I've been making a project that is born out of me being just incredibly lucky. So I'm in this building, and from this building you can see this ridiculous view that I have behind me. So I've been making that into a project, and I've been watching the view from our second floor window in the apartment for the past 4 months and just waiting for a photo to appear. Over those 4 months, I've made maybe 50 good ones. And it's the same framing every single time, but that repetition, the repetition of the same view over and over again is where things become interesting. So I've been really looking at the water and really noticing the water and all the different types of the water. So the water can be rough or it can be smooth, but sometimes it can look like glass. Sometimes it can look like glass, but the ripples are really small, so it looks rough, but it's still smooth. So anyway, there's a lot going on. And one thing that I'm loving is it's kind of the thought process is inspired by a Paul Graham piece of work that photographers seem to really enjoy. And it's sometimes I take a photo of the view and then take a photo half an hour later or even just a minute later. And it's interesting to see things change in such a small amount of time. So sometimes you can watch the clouds stay the same, but the weather or the foreground, the people or whatever's in it, completely change. It's been fun to be able to photograph birds a lot. And I'm thinking of it in terms of a book or a zine or something. So I want to lay it out, show all of these photos in the order that I took them, to firstly show how people's interaction with these wharves and with this river changes over time, and as well to just serve as a reflection and a memory of my experience in the house. So I think really subtle things like the way that I compose the image is different, and what I choose to include in the image is different based on how I'm feeling. And I want to be able to include that in the book as well. In relation to this project, it kind of feels it's so lucky and it's so easy and it's so obvious. It kind of feels like pop music to me. So I think I'm going to call it Views. Views from this, just views.